From Wichita Falls to Paris, from Atoka, Oklahoma to the Dallas area, Texoma has a thriving music scene. Revolving around country rock and blues, the singer-songwriters of the Texoma area reach into the outlying geographic enclaves here and there around the country. It's a scene of music that is defined more by geography than it is a sound and encompasses all the facets of the music scene on either side of the border. Denison, Texas is the hub of this music region, and it's music-friendly in so many ways. Long-standing tradition and musical families spanning generations are the hallmark of this area. Denison is also one of the first 20 cities in the state of Texas to be designated a music-friendly city by the state. My name is Ann House, and I'm a singer here in the Texoma area. We're live casting from beautiful downtown Denison at the Podcast on Main studio. This is Open Mic with Ann House. Every damn time. He does that every time. Well, welcome to Open Mic with Ann House. I'm sure all of you just heard one of our producers, Chris Romaine, just kind of going wild over there. It is Tuesday night, and so guess what? It is time for another episode of Open Mic with Ann House. We are here in beautiful downtown Denison, across the street from Heritage Park at the corner of Main and Burnett. This is the Podcast on Main Studios. Okay, cool. This is the Podcast on Main Studios as a part of Split Window Studios, and it is lovely and time change does all sorts of weird stuff to us. So now it's dark and yay. That's just, I guess that's one of the best parts of living in a state where the time still changes. Ugh. Tonight we have Heath, and tell me how your last name goes. Thomas. Okay. Well, you never know, right? Yeah. People look at my name, A-N-N-E, and they go, Annie. No, that's not it. So... Hey, and my sister's name is Claire. She goes, Clara, Lynn, it's a thing. And Heath is from the grave. A great sweatshirt, by the way. I love it. Yeah. It's really cool. Can you see?
Sweet place here.
It is really kind of a cool, I call it the fishbowl because on really nice nights, there's always somebody walking by and it's like being in a giant fishbowl. Yeah. What can I say?
Yeah, the street looks awesome too. Used to hang around here a lot. This
right?
was like the drum, wasn't this like the drum? They did drum lessons.
At one point, I think it may have been, but it was also an optometrist shop.
Wow.
That was the most recent one before this. The podcast studio has been here for, I guess it's a little over a year because I was their first customer. Which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is pretty great. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things in the world to do. First thing I want you guys to know, though, is Hitting the Streets podcast. On Sunday, they dropped the episode that I got to be in. It was really, really kind of a cool thing. I love being able to, work with other podcasters and other streamers to put all the things together, right? And so one of the things that I don't get to talk about very much on this show is stuff from me. I get to talk about everybody else, right? Yeah. So, but for a change, I actually got to talk about my musical history and things like that. So it was kind of cool.
You do have a lot of history.
I do.
When I met you, you gave me a history lesson.
Oh my God. I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, but I love it. Yeah.
No, it's really kind of.
Yeah, that's an awesome set that day too.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. And Peggy.
Peggy's neat.
Peggy, yeah.
Peggy is neat. And I remember doing that set. That's been, gosh, how long has that been? Yeah. 4 or 5 years, I guess. So. But she specifically asked me to do pieces from the stuff that I did when I was in the SCA. Well, still am. And wear my garb. And I don't think I have any pictures of that, thank God.
You had the whole get up and
thing,
you explained it all during your set. Yeah, I liked it. I dug it.
It's really it's an interesting thing. I've been doing that since I was 18, I guess. So a very long time.
Yeah.
And the SCA it's a worldwide organization. And I kind of go in a little bit more depth on that. Probably basically the same thing that you got that weekend on that podcast. Yeah. So, and a lot of people don't know that the music of the Middle Ages can really impact, everything else, right? Because there were some really significant changes during the Middle Ages. For example, 4/4 time was not a thing at all until Palestrina started using it in some of his music. And so it was a 3/3 type thing up until then. And music notation from the Middle Ages looks nothing like it does today. And I think most musicians would look at it and go, okay. Because as part of the SCI, that's part of the historical research I did. And regional music is different. Oh my God, Russian music is my persona is Russian, is so different than music anywhere else, especially in that day and age. So it's just like, oh, wow. But yeah, that was really fun. I enjoyed that. And I'm going to have to see when Peggy is going to do another.
Yeah,
what did she
Simple
call
Life.
that? Over at Simple Life.
That's the name of her farm.
Yeah, that's
right.
the name of her farm.
What did she
She's
done
call
a
that?
few singer-songwriter things.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was thinking that I might have, but you didn't play it that show she put on. I don't think it was like a singer-songwriter's deal.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it at the Rialto Theater.
Oh, no, I didn't. No, that would have been fun.
I think that was the first time I ever met her.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'd done some stuff at the theater,
Mm-hmm.
and when it was closed, and kind of tried to get it going, and I think she was trying to do something at the same time, and maybe kind of come in there and saw how her show was going, and
Yeah,
so
we
she
talked.
was like,
Not
better this out.
Not this last week because we took a break for the election because that was just a whole nother form of entertainment.
Oh yeah.
But the week before we talked to Cody and Matt. And they did shows. You know who Cody and Matt are, right? Matt Blackshear and Cody Spangler Miller. They stand-up comic.
Matt Blackshear sounds familiar, but is he acoustic player?
Yeah, actually he is.
I think maybe I met him
And
through
piano.
that.
Sit closer to, yeah. But they did stand-up over at the Rialto also, so that piece has its own bit of history in this area, right? Because
I love that theater.
it is a neat little theater, right? The Rialto's.
Houdini stories and stuff, and
Yes,
we
I
come through
know.
the trap door that night from the grave. I was like, we're breaking this open.
Oh, wow,
and then
that's
the next
cool.
time we come through there, they had it open as a dressing room, but it was like there was
neat.
no electricity the first time we did
yeah.
it. Charlie Jack from the Coyote Club come and lit it up for us, and we broke all those lights out. We ripped all the wiring up, redid all the wiring of the stage.
Right.
But it was
How long ago was that?
man, that was definitely way before. So I lived here in Denison for about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, that's probably around 2010.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it was just vacant forever, and then
Yeah, it
we
was.
just kind of went in there, and I think Charlie even got me in there because they were building a bar in the top of it, ripping a bunch of the old stuff out of it, and he was just
Wow.
on the construction crew.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'll introduce you to the owner. I was really wanting to open it up and just show horror movies on the
Wouldn't that be
on
cool?
Sundays,
Yeah.
and just kind of do like that because they still had the popcorn machines
Mm-hmm.
and everything in there. And
They still have that the concession area in the front. Last time I was in there, which was for, they had a whole bunch of like tarot card readers and that kind. It was a supernatural.
yeah, they did
What do you
like a
call it?
haunted type of deal,
Yeah.
and all those guys too. That was one reason why they called me in there was because the people that were working in there, they all had stories and they were telling me, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna do a.
See, that's when you need a recorder.
Yeah, we
you gotta
we
go through
brought
and
a
listen to all that.
Yeah, totally. So,
You know?
yeah, I've had some good times over there in the Rialto. They shut it down one night on Halloween night and let me watch Halloween on the projector, and it was just me.
Oh wow,
Me and my old lady in there. So
that's pretty
I've
cool.
had some good times in there before it
Yeah.
revamped up. But yeah, we just Yeah, he acted scared when I was like, dude, we should show movies here every week, for free, I'll work for free. That's what I told him. I said, I will work for free.
I know.
As long as you let me live up.
Yeah, no kidding. It is kind of spooky in there, just a little bit, right?
Yeah, the vibes there. It's definitely got a vibe.
It does have a vibe. It really does.
I've been in there at night by myself. And, I never have had any experiences, but just all good times, and
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Definitely. I'd like to. I'm sure. I'd love to go in there and ghost hunt one night and with the recorders.
That would be neat. That would be neat. So that kind of leads back a little bit though to the name From the Grave. So you got to tell me about that. How did that come about? And then tell me a little bit about the band. Yeah,
the From the Grave thing. We tried to find a band name for years, and we were called Mausoleum.
Oh, okay.
For years, and did these like psychedelic light shows and mixed it with kind of metal, and like we do now. And that's really when we put our first record out. That's why I named it that. And but From the Grave, we just never could settle on a band name. I think we went through like 2 or 3 over the years. Seasons of Wither, The Seasons of Wither, Mausoleum.
That's an interesting name too.
Yeah, and I just did it because it's my favorite Aerosmith song, but those guys never knew it. They're like, what? And most people don't. But yeah, we just threw stuff in the hat, in the cowboy
picked something
hat,
out?
and the one that the guys picked, that was the one they picked, and I was like, yeah, whatever. So we went with that forever. So yeah, when it come into my hands, and when we actually started putting out records and stuff like that, From the Grave. So to me, it means just like a, resurrection, a new beginning.
Right.
A lot of the stuff that we get tied in with, not so much. So it's not really a Walking Dead thing. It's not a zombie thing. It's
right.
But yeah, it's more of like a positive thing for me. Rebirth, resurrection, new life.
The Hanged Man tarot card, since we were basically talking about that a few minutes ago, looks scary to everybody because it's a man hanging upside down. Yeah. But it really means stasis until it's reversed, and then it means change, right?
Wow.
So, I can see similarities there for, a resurrection and all that. But the iconography that you have going there on your sweatshirt, is that supposed to just, be one of those things that people want to look at, or?
Yeah, so this would be like I didn't actually do this artwork. This was a guy, a friend of ours that did this, and we have a track on our second record called Take Up Snakes.
Oh, okay.
So that was like his favorite track off the record. And
interesting.
This was something kind of he drew up in our style, kind of.
Wow.
And he gave it to me as like a present. And yeah, somebody said we should make a T-shirt out of it. So we made our last, this little run we just got off of.
Right.
We made it the tour T-shirts of this design.
Oh, cool.
But the half moon, the artwork and stuff would be like, second record.
Okay.
So it kind of goes with
cool.
that. I've got some occult comments on this one.
I'm sure.
But yeah, I have a goat farm, so.
Oh, do you?
That's where the goats come from. A lot of people.
Okay.
I've definitely been called satanic or evil before.
Have you?
That's nothing new, but I'm like, you must not have read the lyrics, or you must not be listening to the words. But
no, they probably aren't. People look at the iconography first, and then album titles and band names and things like that, and don't even bother to listen to the songs.
No, even people that know me real well, that I've always known, that I've raised goats and stuff for over 10 years.
Right.
Like really close friends. It's mostly, it's only had happen a couple times, I guess, but they're like, lose the goat stuff, man. Gave and said some choice words to me.
Oh my.
And I'm like, that's literally, I think all the goat artwork we've had, I actually had like one goat that was like our mascot, and it passed away.
Oh.
And a buddy drew up our, a logo for us for free, and
Included.
did it and said, man, I hate to hear that, buddy. I hope you have a better day. And gave it to us. And I was like, dude, this is so awesome. I'm going to use this. And that's usually the stuff they're talking about. And it's like, we use like, I wouldn't say it's fan art, but
well, but it is.
The reason they drew that stuff up, because they know me.
Right.
So the goat stuff usually, so that's where I'm sure that's why he put the goat horns on
that's
her.
Actually kind of, that's
knows me.
An interesting way that's pretty cool.
But I've never drawn any of the goat stuff, or like I do all the, or at least watch over all the artwork. Yes.
You did this piece?
Yes, for sure.
And Chris, can you see I don't know if you can see this very well or not.
Yeah, we were talking about peyote earlier. That's a peyote button right there.
There. Yeah. Can you? So this is
my cousin's an awesome artist too, Blake Thomas.
There we go.
Black Moss Tattoo Studios.
Oh, okay.
He's
That's
one of the
cool,
artists, right? But we've never really collaborated on anything just other than all my tattoos, and I've helped him with his tattoo parlors and all that. But this next record, I figure he'll help me a lot with the art direction, and I just give him all my bar napkins. That's what a lot of this stuff is. Like, I drew this on a bar napkin.
Your bar napkins.
Yeah, totally.
That's actually really neat. I like that.
That was my house on East Texas Street in Denison.
Was it really?
Yeah. So if anybody knows that, the haunted house on East Texas Street, that's what brought me here.
So how long have you lived in the area?
So I moved during COVID. I sold that place during COVID.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because,
Too much?
Just everything shut down, right? So we just didn't really, and also people, come in trying to take advantage of a lot of people like me, during that time. Mm-hmm. So that's what a lot of it was. And I just I had some, my lawyer basically told me I should, right now it'd probably be best to sell the house and go on type of deal. And so that's how I moved out of Denison during the COVID era.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took that money and got 30 acres.
Where's your goat farm at?
In Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
Tushka, Oklahoma.
Well, yeah, it's a good place for it, right? That's our little mascot over there.
I love him.
She is such a sweetie. Yeah, her name is Penelope, and we were talking about art with the goat horns. A friend of mine is a comic strip artist, and I've got a strip that he did of me singing and Penelope getting tangled up in microphone cords. And so, yeah, it's really kind of neat when you can incorporate parts of your personal life into logos and stuff like that. He did an entire comic strip on our family.
That's awesome.
Right? It is pretty awesome. Yeah. There's one of them, and this is something that his daughter did, but he used our daughter as the pictorial reference. She's rocking along wearing headphones and holding in.
Very cool.
Yeah. And
that's cool. I like it.
It is cool. Yeah. And then Dad asks her, "What you listening to?" Thinking it's something like, Backstreet Boys or whatever. And she said Beethoven. So yeah, it is an interesting.
Go ahead and tell them the name of the strip.
Oh, it's called House Rules. RULZ.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good name. I like it.
And the artist's name is Ed Chase. He does a really good job. And I don't know if he has any up right now, but I think you can find House Rules on Facebook, because I don't think he ever deactivated the page. So you can go and you can see you were talking about the satanic thing, right? We play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Right? All sorts of tabletop role-playing games. And you can imagine the stuff that we've heard, because we've been playing since the Satanic Panic of 84, 85. And
my freshman year, I was going to hell because I was playing D&D.
yeah, right? So, and both of us have been playing that long. So I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Because, hi. because it's never what it seems, right?
Yeah.
It's never what it seems. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've wrote a lot about life experiences and some of the not, basically just holding up a mirror to some of them, and I wouldn't say evil, but definitely dark, and both
Do you think
of these.
that inspires your music? I mean, are you the primary songwriter for your group, or do you collaborate amongst the three of you, or?
Yeah, I've never collaborated with anybody on writing a song, except the music and the lyrics. Just always, that's what I bring to the table as far as like collaborating. Yeah, the drummer, the guy I started the band with and everything, Dan Anderson. Yeah, I couldn't have done it without him. He's the guy that helped me glue it all together, basically. And we were out there in the middle of nowhere in Antlers, Oklahoma. Like, if I would have known that we'd be playing downtown Denison, it's unthought. I thought of, let alone going to.
Especially someplace called Red Rock Saloon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
So you're playing this coming Saturday night,
16th,
right?
Yeah, 16th, yeah.
So they'll be at the Red Rock Saloon this coming Saturday night, the 16th, starting at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock?
I think the doors open at 7 and the music starts at 8.
Good deal.
Die Unnamed is kicking the show off. So
Who is?
Die Unnamed.
Oh, Die Unnamed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think they're a lot more local than I am.
Yeah.
So
they've started adding a lot more, not country, right? It's because they've got a Prince impersonator that comes in once every 3 months. This, I'm told, is an extremely good show.
Oh yeah,
right?
I saw that actually. Yeah, Holly's Border Bar. Holly Means, I love her. She sent me a picture of her and Prince.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. And I know that there's a couple of young people metal bands in the area, and they had like 3 of them up there. Like Jeremy Pfeiffer's son plays for one, and I'll be honest, the name has escaped me. And then there's another couple, 3 of them. Josh Hansard's son is in one, and
Walter Cheese Bros.
Yes, they changed their name.
Yeah, he's doing all the, his company Rise Incorporated is doing the booking, I think, over there.
Oh, okay.
Now, so maybe he might be the reason why they're.
That's great.
Starting to.
No, I think that's really cool.
Some more stuff but that place, I think of. I was loading my uncle's equipment in there when I was like 15 years old at Susie Q's.
When it was Susie Q's, yeah.
And Susie's like, you make sure you stay back there,
Yeah.
And then like years later, I played there, and she was so good to me. Mm-hmm. And then a couple different clubs, she was really good to me. Susie was always really good to me. And then Union Station, T-Bone Walker, Mike Walker took it over.
Right.
And turned it into a New Orleans kind of vibe, which I loved. I was there every Sunday watching the Saints game and drinking there. He had like
I would have loved
quarters.
that. We just weren't here in the area at the time.
I had my first record release party there.
Yeah.
So that's probably a pretty big highlight in Denison of at least being on this street. I think that might have been one of the best nights. So when I think of Red Rock, I just think of Mike and Union Station. But we went in there last time and it was redone and super awesome staff and awesome sound guy and different stage, different layout. But
Chris and Diana run a good place. Yeah. They really do. I enjoy Red Rock on those occasions when I get to go out and not have to think about I've got to go to this place or this place or this place. And I don't dance that much. I'm mobility impaired, so I don't dance. And so for me, it's just I'm going there strictly to listen to the music. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I don't listen to metal music all that often. Mm-hmm. I like it. Yeah. I do, actually, surprisingly. I was listening, you were talking about New Orleans. I was listening to the Neville Brothers on the way home from Whitesboro last night.
Best killer rhythm section.
I know. My favorite album of theirs is Yellow Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Good album,
totally,
right?
Yeah, no, that
really
one.
Good album. And I was listening to that on the way home, and Chris is like, you don't listen to that stuff very much. And I'm like, well, it's because nobody else besides me in the house likes to listen to Cajun music. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's cool, though. I didn't know that there was a
Yeah.
Southern Louisiana theme
Totally, yeah.
over
And then
there.
Mike, he did a lot of cool stuff. Like, it took him a bit to warm up to me. I think I even played like, he was like, "Yeah, you're that satanic metalhead type of deal."
Oh, no.
And from the grave, he loves me now. But he made me play a free show with my acoustic to get a gig. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna call you up, Mike. But I remember that night being awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, sometimes you got to play a free gig to get a gig, So.
Yeah, I know. I've had to do that, too.
Yeah.
What did you plan for us tonight, though?
So we.
Speaking of free gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of free gigs.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't get to do any, hardly ever get to do From the Grave tunes acoustically? Obviously.
Okay.
Because, all my guys, man, Taylor Kimbrell, O'Shea Williams, they can't be with us tonight, but, yeah, man, they bring a lot to the table. David Brock on keyboards helped me with this. So many people helped me with the sound, so there's not too many From the Grave songs that are acoustic.
Right.
And I love playing the heavy ones acoustically. Well, I'm not going to do that to you tonight, but
Wow.
but there are all the acoustic ones,
Right.
all the acoustic parts, because our records are they have a lot of clean parts in them throughout the whole thing, instrumentals and stuff. But so yeah, I'm going to play the few that I never get to play.
See, there you go. You know who Tim Rogers is?
Oh yeah, that's what I was
Okay.
going to ask you earlier about how y'all interpret
Mr. Metalhead there.
I didn't even know he was into metal, so I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
him that well.
Oh,
but
my God,
I was going to
yes.
ask you though,
Yes.
when y'all get together, do you interpret that music that you play like by ear, or
We're
just how you're
starting
gonna do
to.
it?
We're starting to, because
You ain't gonna find the tablature on YouTube.
you're really not. You're really not. But there are some songs that he really enjoys. He really likes the Misfits.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of his favorites. And there's a Misfits song that I'm kind of waffling. It has an interesting sound to it, and I've forgotten the name of it, but it's of all things, it's about a serial killer. And I'm wondering if I can actually pull that off. And there was a Metallica song that he was directing me to. It's called "Hallowed Be Thy Name." And yeah, I know, right? And I'm going, let's see if Ann can do that. and he's heard me do some. It was, I want to say it was my misspent youth, but it was really only about 5 or 6 years ago. And, there
Justice
was
for all days.
yeah, I know, right?
Hey, it's more relevant today than it was then.
There was a group that liked to do classic rock ballads, classic rock, that I sang a little bit with. Me, classic rock, right?
You got a hell of a voice.
Dire Straits, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I love Dire Straits.
So yeah, it was some interesting pieces, but I came out of it with some definitely a really real appreciation for the work that goes into creating those, and then hanging with Tim, I get an even more appreciation for it when it's not really close to my head
Yeah.
to give me a headache.
Yeah.
Sadly.
And you're do you perform it as a duo?
Yeah,
So
usually.
you have to kind of
Yeah, we're working on those.
you have to make it your own kind of that type deal. So that's where I would see that a lot of the you redoing the traditional music it'd be a journey.
It would definitely be a journey, and it's
Yeah.
a journey that I want to take.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It'll be fun. It will be interesting. I'm just waiting to see how we can make it work, because it's different. It's just not something that I've ever really done before, so I have to kind of change my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So let's hear some of the cool stuff that you're going to do here. So, Chris, you said number 4 needs to come up for him. In the meantime, while he's doing his basic setup there, take a look here at some of the really cool merch that we've got. There's the stickers, which we already saw. And this is a flask. Isn't it cool? Shaped like a coffee. Let's see if we can get it turned the right way. There we go. Right? And these are all available at your shows, or are they available online, or both?
Definitely at our merch table and
Let me get it turned the right way.
store.fromthegreatband.com. We have a lot of stuff.
And since we're on Facebook, I can actually show you what this is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a grinder.
You know, Texas
really
is
kinda
a
cool.
medical state.
It is a medical state, but still, even so, I mean, I think this, and this is really good weight. It's not, it doesn't feel cheap or anything like that. This is really nice. I like that. And there's a little funnel that comes with the flask. And they've got a lot of their stuff out on vinyl, which is unusual in this day and age. But we're about to put up our turntable, so I'm thinking, I'm going to have to think about that. And, of course, the 2 albums on CD there.
It just sounds better on vinyl.
Everything sounds better on vinyl.
Yeah, totally. It does. It does.
It does. I totally agree with you. And I'm a classic country lady, so.
What's your, that's one of my favorite things to listen to, as far as music goes.
Classic country?
Oh, just female harmonies. Singing.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even care if it's a man. I skip.
Female harmonies are
If
pretty
it's
cool.
a man, I'm like skip. But
Yeah.
Waylon, Hank, Merle,
Yeah. Check out the High Women.
yeah, David Allen Coe. Oh yeah, yeah, I know about him. I know
Yeah,
about 'em.
there you go. That's
And,
the ones.
Yeah, my guilty pleasure is that Western as Fuck show. AF, Western AF. Yeah, check it out.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of good artists on there.
Chapel Hill. Check out Chapel Hill, too. You'll like them.
Chapel Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, cool.
Ain't they the ones that sing?
You can keep him Jolene.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
Joey.
That's one of the reasons I like them. But the other reason is they have good harmonies. They really
Very
do.
cool. Yeah, I love those country harmonies.
I'm telling you.
So yeah, I think this is, what track is this off of? So this is track number 4 off our second record. This one's called Mirage.
I found you before the mountain, eyes dilated and covered in white sand. You asked me if I'd seen the water. Have I been born again? No one is anyone here. There's nowhere to run. Nobody is anybody here. There's nowhere to hide from the desert inside. The desert inside. Truth or consequence? What did you come here looking for? Some learn to leave it all behind, buried deep somewhere you'll never find. No one is anyone here. There's nowhere to run. Nobody is anybody here. There's nowhere to hide from the desert side. is anyone here?
I like it.
Yeah.
Done acoustically, it kind of gives me a Doors vibe,
Cool.
combined with a little Southern Gothic, and I like
Yeah,
it that
love the
way.
Doors.
That's great. Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, Robbie Krieger's definitely one of my favorite guitar players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still love them. It's my favorite part of the Doors for sure.
Yeah, it did. That was really pretty cool. I like it. So, doing things doing an acoustic version of those songs has got to be a really interesting step away from what you normally do, right?
Yeah, some of our longer shows when we do 2 or 3 hours, I get to get into them, but
Right?
yeah, my guys are awesome. So I mean, like some of just adding a keyboard to that.
Oh, I
is
can
awesome,
imagine.
doing it live, and yeah, I just don't get a chance to do it too
Really?
often, and because yeah, there's not too many. Even our headlining gigs, they won't let us play more than an hour and 30 minutes, hour and 15 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, or if you want to get paid.
That's kind of weird because everyone I've ever done has been 3 hours minimum.
Yeah, well, that's why I have a solo band, because they're like, if you don't do 2 or 3 hours, you don't get the gig, right?
Right?
But it's also at different venues.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is definitely a band that, we played a Haltom Theater the other
Yeah, I
night
saw
in
that.
Haltom City. I think it was 45 minutes, and that's a pretty long set. I think we played the longest set that whole night of anybody on the bill.
Wow. That's interesting. Do you think that has something to do with the genre, or
Yeah.
I wonder why?
Or energy.
Just the energy in the room,
Yeah,
maybe?
because sometimes 45 minutes of this, I mean, I could see why
Yeah.
you know,
Would only want 45 minutes at a time,
yeah, totally. So it is a physical thing, but
right?
I mean, that's why, yeah, we just keep on doing it till we could do it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a band that we could go out and even try to
Pull
half-ass
off a-
anything.
Yeah.
On top of anything. So it is
Right?
yeah, most of the time when I go out there, I just black out right when we get out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually never have any of these before we play.
Yeah, no.
Because it doesn't affect me.
Oh, really?
It's a big waste of everything. But
Oh.
also, too, I've never been one to go, you're a singer, so
Yep.
drinking.
Yeah, I was about to say alcohol inhibits vocal band usage, or at least it does for me.
I think I sound better, but, and
Yeah.
and you feel better. But I grew up around this scene, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, paying money to go see some of my favorite people and
Right.
seeing them up there, like,
Blitzed
showing
out of their brain.
ass. And I was like, man, I can't imagine ever doing that to anybody that ever paid to
Yeah.
see me. So I just never
Yeah.
been that guy.
No, and I get that. I wondered about things like that when it came to, because you can't not see that when it comes to country music, especially from the older country,
Yeah.
right? I mean, George Jones and Tammy Wynette, there was a mini series that they did recently about the.
Oh, yeah, I heard that was really good.
It was, but I only watched 2 episodes because that was the beginning of the train wreck. That was their entire marriage. And it was literally a train wreck. And I just couldn't see that being something that I know I didn't want it for my own life. And I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I just couldn't. And when my kids, my son was like 18 months old and I was still pregnant with my daughter, I went and saw Meatloaf. Kind of expect it from Meatloaf, even though, still not too terribly bad, but, and it was just not something I ever wanted. And I know that there's a struggle for a lot of artists when it comes to drugs and alcohol, and I'm wondering if that's the creative process or what. I mean, you say you saw it a lot with
Yeah,
when you were growing up.
I've lost a lot of bandmates but those two,
Yeah.
More alcohol than even drugs.
Than anything else.
The drugs part, they're dead or worse. They're still walking around, and it's pretty
It's
bad.
rough.
Yeah,
It's rough.
and they definitely never followed any music career like
Right.
Most of these people we're talking about are like God-given talents.
Right.
You know, they're just some people that have God-given talents, they just can't hold it. So drugs and alcohol come in, and you know, I'm still a drinker. I just don't.
Drink to
When it comes
excess.
to that, I mean, that would just like be like. That's like I said. The only thing that I could even think about that you could even compare this type of show to would be like some type of physical sport.
Right.
And you're not going to drink a 6-pack and think you're going to go out there and perform better.
You know what? That's true.
You know, so that's or a boxing match. Even
Yeah.
one beer is going to make you think different. Like you got to.
It does.
So I've always had that, and all the other stuff can come afterwards, if that's your thing. Then
Go for it. Right.
yeah, as long as it don't affect you being in the band, but most of the time it does.
It does. It
You know,
does.
they cannot. They don't look at it the way I look at it.
Right.
You know, but really, to me, that's the only way you could, since I've been doing it.
What do you mean? Do you mean like look at it as
Physically pull it off.
right? Okay.
Yeah, and I just never have been one of those guys that could like roll around on the floor like Marilyn Manson or something. just never could do that.
Yeah. No, I got
You
you.
know, and yeah, there is no trickery to it. You know? Yeah. Or any of that, you know. And also, I would. Yeah, that's just not why I do it.
Why do you do it? What is your reason for? I mean, and I try to ask everybody, what is your reason for being in this admittedly very difficult and uphill battle type of environment, business?
Yeah, music is, and I have a lot of friends that have kids now, and you know they say, Heath, give them a guitar lesson, or Heath,
Yeah.
like, oh, I give them a lesson, all right, you know. There's a lot of stuff that I would tell them to stay away from, you know,
Right.
especially the days that they're coming up in. I couldn't imagine like a young kid in high school, or like I was, playing music and trying to put my stuff on Facebook and
Right.
receiving that criticism, and
Yeah.
you know it'd be super
This
hard.
is
Yeah.
so very different than what it was even 10 years ago.
And people say, well, it's so much easier to be found, you know, or it may be true, but you have
Maybe.
to put up with a lot.
Yeah, I think
mean,
so.
I've talked to big time producers and they tell me, you know, you need a TikTok or you need a
Yeah.
this and or you need to do more videos of this. And I'm just like, you know, that's not the reason why I play music. And even if I had 1 million streams today on
Right.
every streaming service, it would not mean as much as 100 people buying records at the record store. So
Yeah, you
streaming
think-
means
yeah.
nothing to me. When people say, man, I've been streaming your album since it came out, I feel nothing. But when one person comes up to me and says, I bought your record at the local record store, it's like everything. It's the highest
Right.
you'll ever get. It's like
Yeah.
somebody singing your song back to you. So there is something there that's lost, and it ain't just me. You know, that's a feeling.
Yeah, and I did not start performing music during an era where there were records and CDs for you to go and buy, right? And I've only started, well, okay, I did, but not for money, right? It's only been within the last 5 or 6 years that I've done that. And so, you know, the streaming thing, I had to understand how that worked, right? Because I remember going to the store and buying records or buying a tape or taping it off the radio, you know, listening
Oh,
to
yeah.
Dr. Demento and all of that.
Making your own mixtapes.
Yes, making your own mixtapes, right? Calling the radio station so you could get some sort of dedication in there just so you could catch it on the mixtape, right? So I had to figure all that out, and I just I don't know. It seems like something is lacking.
Yeah, it's
You know?
I don't know if it's like maybe our us paying attention, but I noticed like I usually buy my music on vinyl like now, especially since everything went to streaming. I never bought all my music on vinyl until streaming,
Until streaming happened?
but I always loved the art that came with the records.
I know,
And I would quit
right?
music if I couldn't put my art, my lyrics in it. It wouldn't mean nothing to me. At least this band wouldn't. Maybe I would do some type of country music or blues or something because
I can hear some blues.
I do. I have a solo band, Heath Thomas in the Shadows. That's probably all the
Yes.
songs that you heard that. Yeah, I might even played a some From the Grave song that day, but I bet it was all Shadows music.
Yeah, it probably was.
Or if I want to play a David Allan Coe song or a Waylon Jennings song, I could play it with the Shadows, you know.
Right.
If I did that with this band, I get a beer
Thrown off the
bottle thrown
stage?
at me, you know. Or so it is that type of, you know, I don't, you know, it is what it is. But
So
also, too, the only reason I even did all the solo stuff is because some of those songs I even wrote when I was like 14 or 15.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
And they're about stuff that, content or lyrics that I
About
would
stuff
never put in this. Because this is, I wouldn't say this is for kids, but like when a lot of kids come out to our show or a lot of parents bring their kids out to the shows, and there's no cuss words, no, you know, I just,
is that unusual when it comes to
metal
music?
Not the metal bands I like, and I think that's, you know, my mom asked me about that because she was a reading teacher, and I've always been a writer since I was beginning. I was writing horror stories and stuff before I found the guitar, and I think that's kind of like still John Carpenter's like my favorite.
Yeah.
You know, I still love a lot of the keyboard parts for the band. You know, that's my inspiration behind it is John Carpenter and Pink Floyd. About the only two that.
When did you start playing?
Probably, I started messing around when I was about 12.
Right. That seems to be a universal age for guitars.
It was more like my uncle still is an amazing musician. You might even know him, Billy Farney. Everybody probably knows him around here. But
no, but now I'll need to. So
yeah, so I used to, you know, load. He's the guy I used to load in his stuff and opening up for THC and all that stuff like that. That's how I met those guys when I was a kid. But yeah, having that guy as your uncle, he damn sure didn't give me too many guitar lessons because he was just
was he
big shadow kind of. It'd be like Eddie Van Halen trying to give you a guitar lesson.
Okay,
like first lesson. But yeah, he taught me a lot about tone, what amps to use at the beginning. I was like 16 and had like a full Marshall stack. You know,
wow.
You know, I could be a millionaire and still what I have right now. And
yeah.
I would handpick the stuff out I still have. So I've been real blessed as far like as equipment.
Right.
And a lot of it comes with my uncle pointing me toward the right way in the beginning. So that's always been I learned bass, keys, how to write, how to sing, because the last thing I was going to do was ever going to be a guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to be in my uncle's band, you know.
You know, Sean Fussell said the same thing, right? He played guitar for a band, and the lead singer got trashed, couldn't perform, so he stepped up and did it. And, you know, then he started writing his own songs, and same thing. So, you know, it's interesting that way, because I've never been in the back part of it, right? Never.
Yes.
You wouldn't put me in the back part because it wouldn't sound balanced. It wouldn't sound
Totally,
right,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, although I have sung with choirs in small groups. Justin Turner says howdy. Hi, Justin. Dustin. Okay. So, yeah, that's, no, you wouldn't sit me in the back of something because it would sound unbalanced, and I get that. But I don't know. I find it hard to think in chords, which is something that you almost have to do when you play piano, when you play, maybe not bass, but when you play guitar, ukulele.
Yeah.
Maybe not banjo, but you know what I'm saying, right? You have to think in chords, and I don't. I think in single line. Yeah. It's a vocalist thing,
yeah,
right?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. So I despair of ever learning any of those things. I know I will because I'll keep trying. But I'm always so impressed by people who play first and then come to singing. And by the way, you sound great.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Because they're playing, they're having to think and play at the same time, sing and play at the same time. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I never thought about it. I always was like a Metallica fan, Megadeth, so I could play like those really fast Megadeth riffs and sing the words at the same time when I was probably 14 or 15. So I guess I kind of still had that in me.
Right.
And I would like those. That was my Bible. Would be that album of that, you know. So I would get the tablature book with the record.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I was kind of prepared for it, I guess. But we probably played for a couple years, and we just do it all instrumental, and we just look for a singer, and we just try out singer after singer, and they just come get trashed in our jam room and just, you know, leave. We have to drag them out, you know, at the end of the deal. And I was like, that ain't the guys. That ain't the guy, guys,
no,
you know.
This is not going to work.
And then one day somebody was like, why don't you get up there and do it since you write all the lyrics? Because I was the only one that could, or actually that was my only thing. I'll be in this, when they asked me to be in the band, like.
Sure, but it's my songs.
I'm just going to write, you know, we can write all the songs together if you want. But I'm on the song titles and the lyrics I want, you know, the theme, all that stuff matters to me. Message. I said yes. So we did that for a bit. We had maybe 10 songs together, but no singer. You know, we had all the, you know, all the demos, like me doing them with the music, but could never find the right guy. And somebody said, get up there and try it, Heath. And I think I put the mic in we had this little jam room and then a long hallway. Like I put the microphone in the hallway and moved my pedal board and my rig, you know, in the hallway, and just tried it one time. And the guys were like, holy shit, you're the dude.
You're the dude. Yeah.
So that's kind of the way that band kind of began. But as far as like being the front man, that wasn't the original idea.
Not at all.
It was more like out of necessity. And still, we've never always welcomed musicians and welcomed vocalists. And I've never even played on the same stage, I don't think, as a vocalist that I'd want for this band. So a vocalist thing is, you know, it's a lot more than just like screaming bloody murder and all that.
Yeah, it is.
You know? So I don't know. There's tons of awesome vocalists, but as far as like characters to be in a bus with or be in a van with or travel all over with.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't met one as far as like that could play this type of stuff because, like I said, most of them are messed up.
How far out do y'all range?
Well, there's
Dallas, Fort Worth area?
I've been doing this since like 2006, so there's less states I haven't played in than I have.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, I've lived in Alaska, so
I would never
made it to Alaska if I didn't have my guitar.
Yeah.
I never would have found any of that. You know, like I said, playing Denison when you're from Antlers, Oklahoma is a big deal. And then before you know it, you're doing that and you're doing that.
This and that, and then just going pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, like playing like Trees for the first time and playing Curtain Club and playing these iconic clubs that I used to skip school when I was 15 years old in Atoka and drive 3 hours and go to Deep Ellum, you know, by myself because nobody would let their kids go with
I know,
me,
right? I grew up in the Dallas area, well, sort of. I lived in Mesquite, which is just outside of Dallas, right?
And played there.
Yeah. See? Yeah. When I grew up in the area, though, I don't know that there was ever any place that would have played metal music, but I know there has to be now, right? And Deep Ellum was the hip place when I was, 12, 15, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I swear at the time, the only thing I really wanted in Deep Ellum, there was a restaurant there that I loved called Central City. No, it was a New Orleans restaurant, and I happened to really like it. But walking around in Deep Ellum is really a trip. Is it still?
No, it's changed a lot over the years. Like, even like right before COVID happened.
Right.
Man, I was so proud of everything around there because I've been around there since, like I said, when I was such a kid. And I've seen a few of the,
some of the changes?
Some of the changes have been through it, and I don't think it was ever. And then, all the riots happened during all that stuff. And I think they're still recovering from that. And so many businesses that aren't there, venues.
Oh, man.
Like I said, only the big ones that could shut down and not bother them are the only ones that are around.
I think that's the same pretty much everywhere. I'm surprised that some of the businesses that we have here manage to survive because such a small area and a small population to support those things. And because Denison and Sherman, particularly Denison, is the music I hesitate to use the word Mecca, but it's really the only word that you can use because Denison is so musically inclined that you're going to see all of it here at some point or another. I mean, there's jazz trios that play down the street every week.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know,
one of my favorite blues guitar players, at least one that I've known, is Jason Elmore. You had him on the show. See, I've
love Jason. He's really a nice guy.
Yeah, I used to load their stuff or load Scott's drums for THC.
Oh yeah.
You know, when he was a guitar player for THC. I don't know if you remember that
I
far
did not.
back. Yeah, he probably wouldn't admit it. But he's done good for himself. But man, THC was a monster with Jason Elmore on guitars, and then Randy Cooper before that. You know,
Right.
I think that might have been who brought him in. But
Jason
those guys,
is him
Randy
and Wes
Cooper
Jeans.
Yeah, I know Wes Wes Ford too.
Oh yeah.
I don't know Wes Jeans. I know
Oh
Wes
really?
Ford. So
Wes Jeans is he's. I got to listen to him at the Green Growler, and because the interior of the Green Growler is brick,
Yeah.
we all got earplugs because
Yeah.
the way the sound bounces in there. But it's like and Oliver White came in and was like, "Oh, I get to play with Wes Jeans," and I'm like, "But you're Oliver White." You know, it was weird.
Yeah, they're
right.
They're probably buddies, huh?
They're friends.
Now,
Yes,
yeah.
they are. Now they are. Yeah. But Oliver's definitely something else.
Yeah, he's been around since like those days when I was loading my uncle's stuff. I would even
Right.
see him, maybe my uncle opening up for him at Calhoun. So
Oh, yeah?
and I would collect the nightlife magazines and stuff like that with them in
Which
there.
is still out and going.
Yeah, and
That's amazing.
man, speaking of that, Jim Waters passed away. There in
Yes, I
Durant.
know.
Man, I loved him, dude. And yeah, it took me a long time to win him over too.
It was never easy to win Jim over.
Yeah, he'd ask me, like I'd play a From the Grave show, and he'd be like, "What did you mean about that line?" You know,
Yeah. That sounds like Jim.
about the devil. You know,
That
And
sounds like
he'd
Jim.
say the exact words. I'm like, wow, man. He's like,
He's listening
yeah.
to the lyrics. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you're actually a metal band that I can understand the lyrics. Like, so,
Right.
he'd tell me like a good. That was his compliments.
Mm-hmm.
I know I loved him. You know, he was a good dude. Very good guy.
Yeah, he's
I've
been.
known him since I met him in 1987. Wow.
Yeah.
When he first got out of the Army. He just got out of the Army a couple of years, but then he's working at Folgers. And yeah, he's one of my D&D groups. He was in
Yeah.
my
I can see
D&D
that.
groups.
Oh yeah.
Dang.
Oh yeah. He played Warhammer. The little minis.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I
He
can
played
see.
Warhammer over at Garner Games.
He's probably
every week.
He was like he's the dwarf lord, wasn't he, or something?
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Yeah, cut him in half, and he'd make it. He'd be the dude.
I know, right?
know.
No, Jim was a great guy, and he
Yeah.
will definitely be missed.
Yeah,
When I found out that he had passed, I was like, oh no,
Yeah, we
what is
played
this world coming to?
played a show in San Marcos that day, or the day of his funeral.
Right.
And I just, man, I thought about him all day, and yeah, he was definitely a music freak, and he took it seriously.
Yeah. Chris grew up in the area. My husband did. I didn't. I grew up, like I said, in Mesquite and Wichita Falls.
Oh, cool. That's a cool town to play in.
Is it?
when
I've
the-
only played there once.
Wow, when it goes down, is that like a military town or something?
It used to be an Air Force town.
And we played in an air hangar every time we play there. It's like an airport hangar.
Yeah.
tough.
No, it used to be an Air Force town. It was a strategic Air Force base,
Yeah.
right? So it was a SAC base, and because my dad was retired military, I had access to whatever, and so he always lived near a military installation, healthcare, right?
Yeah.
So we lived in Wichita Falls. Let's see, all the way through high school, 1 year middle school, all the way through my high school and first year in college. So about 6 years. What? Okay. So yeah, it's an interesting place, but you can get caught up in your own circle of whatever it is that you listen to, right? I listened to country music back then because, well, that was the thing, right? And I had a boyfriend that listened to metal music, and so I only, encroached on that a little bit on the sides, and that was pretty much it. So it's kind of interesting to see a lot of that converge together here in this area.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I'm having to fight to get metal people to come on the show, which is weird. You'd think, right?
Yeah, I played with the band. Actually, when they reopened Red Rock, I think they're from like the Fort Worth area.
Right.
But yeah, they brought a really cool band in called Wolfera, like them. So there's all kinds of, you know, every show we played, there's something that's, you know, some band that's one of my favorite things is
Right.
the guys that we shared the stage with. But
Meeting all the different.
but as far as like local Denison, yeah, hard rock and metal.
Yeah, I know it's hard, right?
Yeah, I know a lot of them that play it, but they can't get along.
Oh.
They can't even get along in a trio.
Oh no, that's kind of sad, you know.
And a lot of them don't want to travel, you know, type of deal.
Yeah,
and if you,
that's true.
You know,
That's hard. Do you have one more song for us to take us out for the evening?
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to get 3 in, but it looks like we already hit an hour. Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna play 1, 2 from one of my solo songs, and since I'm on the air and everything, and it's crazy. We're here at Split Window Studios. So,
We are.
Yeah, Corbett Potter was got me into this, or was going to get me into the studio to record this song I'm about to play for you.
Right?
He tragically passed away. I don't know if you know Corbett Potter. He's a hell of a drummer.
Oh.
Yeah, I guarantee you.
Wait a minute. Yes.
Chris Romano.
I heard about that.
Chris
Oh,
Romano.
God, yes.
He's probably played on a lot of studio records here. And he talked
did
real
hear
good
about
about
that.
Chris. And I was like, yeah, I know his dad, Mike. Let's go there. Wherever you feel comfortable, let's do it. But, yeah, he left us a horrible accident. And so we have been looking to...
Did you know
Benny Holcomb?
Holcomb?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
H-L...
You kind of remind me of him, actually. He's from Denison here.
Oh, I went to school with Benny.
Okay, yeah.
But Dustin, I watched the...
He watches the feed for me.
And Dustin Turner was like, oh, shout out to Benny Holcomb. So...
Sounds like a troll to me.
I know.
There's a lot of
every
them.
show has them. Every show has them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. At least they're not death threats on Facebook, Dustin.
Thank God. All right, go ahead.
He comes see me in real life. But
So,
but speaking of that, rest in peace, Corbett Potter.
Indeed.
Yeah, he's wanting us to record this song here in the studio, and so yeah, I'm kind of looking to do it. We've been wanting to do this record for a while. Me, my uncle, and him. But yeah, I'm looking for a drummer for my solo band.
Well, shout out to everybody out there. He's looking for a drummer. I know a couple. I will send them your way.
Send them my way.
Yep.
This one's called The Hitchhiker.
Cool. So while he's getting that set up, if you are watching this on Facebook, I want you to share the heck out of this show. Also, send stars, because stars turn into money and money turns into more episodes. If you are listening to this on the Block 105, SoCal Radio, or KJAM, just know that you can go to anhousemusic.com, click on the tip jar, and donate to support our show via Venmo.
But nothing to say. For some time I felt this way. I need no ride, I have no destination. I leave no trace, no signs of life. I'm just a passenger on this hellbound train. Burning up these tracks, sweating out the pain. Know this life left behind me. It's been a cruel one, and I just can't seem to forget her face. Forget her face. Waking up in a corner of a memory to the smell of skin and gasoline, tormented by screams gone forever. Yeah, I'm just a passenger on this hellbound train, burning up these tracks, sweating out the pain. Know this life I've left behind me. It's been a cruel one, and I just can't seem to forget her face. I'm haunted by your voice, ringing in my head. I hear your voice ringing in my head. When I got that phone call, I threw that bottle down, kicked it in gear to that house on the hill, stoked our fireplace as I watch the flames rise. I've been walking in the sun, just trying to make sense of. I'm just a passenger on this hellbound train, burning up these tracks and sweating out the pain. Know this life I've left behind me. It's been a cruel one, and I just can't seem to forget her face. I'm haunted by your voice, ringing in my head. Yeah, I see your face everywhere I go.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thanks for having me,
nice.
Ann.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. You know, this show also shows on Outlaw TV on Roku.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I eventually will get them all uploaded to Spotify. I'm not sure about Spotify sometimes, right? Because
Yeah,
they're not really super friendly to musicians.
I do like the podcast though, because
Yeah.
I listen to like a lot of true crime on Spotify.
Yeah.
And I do not listen to any music on Spotify because they if you don't pay for premium,
Yeah.
they smash your mix. So if you're
Yeah.
a musician and you pay for mixing and mastering, I mean they are your producer.
Yeah, I'm not.
YouTube too, so
But you know what?
it is something.
It is something.
Yeah,
right?
and if somebody's paying for premium, they hear the original mix you intended to, at least close to it.
Right.
So yeah, I can listen to podcasts and not feel bad about it. 'Cause,
All right, well, that's a reason to go ahead and put them up there.
Everybody's got a podcast, right? So
They do. They
like
do. But it's
it's a big deal. now.
it is a big deal now. It is a big deal now, and that's why I kind of lit on the podcast
Yeah.
doing this, and I have enjoyed the heck out of it.
Yeah, I saw you're doing good.
Yeah.
And what's another guy? I liked your Jason Elmore interview, but you got Alexander Massey on here.
Yep. Got Alex Massey.
Yeah, that's my old buddy, man. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a great guy. I love him. He's so sweet.
Love Alexander. Shout out to Alexander.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, and Corey Burkett. Also, he
cool.
was on that same episode.
Yeah, he's a drummer, right?
Yes, he's a drummer,
yeah.
but he also plays guitar.
Cool.
But we got to talk about grunge music, which was kind of interesting because it's
oh yeah, Corey's on the. That's
Right.
where I know him from the deal. I've never met him. I don't think.
Oh, he's a neat guy.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to come out to some of the open mics and
I've seen him play
least say
drums
hi.
though for
Yeah.
some bands.
Yeah, he
Definitely.
does.
I just hadn't ever.
what
met
is
him,
the
I don't
name of the
think.
group that he's with?
I've had
See,
people
there
tell
goes
me
my brain.
You should play with him. I've had people
Yeah.
tell me that he
He's
should
one
be
of the
the
people
Shadows
I
drummer.
would direct your way because
Yeah.
he could handle that. And so could Nathaniel. And I forgot Nathaniel's last name, but Anyways,
Yeah, basically, we're just looking to go in, cut these 7 songs on this record, and we have,
you need a drummer for that.
Yeah, we have Corbett on the drums for all the demos, so the demos are pretty strong that we
Right.
did at our house, and so everything's kind of there. It's just we were actually just going to come in here and just give him the drum room with the drums, and probably take it,
And let it
to
go
the
from there.
house.
Yeah.
And then I could do everything at the house.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I know Micro Main real well. So he's traveled everywhere. He's put up with so much of my shit. Yeah, if anybody has around at Denison, it's Micro Main.
Yeah.
And he don't even like metal music or rock. And he's like, I don't know, something about you, Heath. I mean, he'd be hanging out on Sundays with me at the house,
Right.
after the gigs. And so, yeah, I love Mike. So, and then he'd always talk about his son, Chris, that was doing big things.
Chris is a good guy.
So that's actually the first time I ever met him.
Really?
Yeah. So and
Wow.
Corbett was just talked about him a lot, and a few musicians that I know around
Yeah.
here have, and
Well, I mean, you have every reason to. I mean,
Yeah.
Split Window is a good studio.
Yeah.
They're a very good studio. It's a historic studio.
totally.
So there's that too.
Yeah, they've been doing big
Go
stuff
upstairs.
too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
They work with the city, and they've been doing.
yeah, the videos and stuff they've been doing
Are just-
I loved all that.
I know they're just kick ass. They do such a great job.
It's great, man, to see. I've always thought Denison, like I've never felt like I had a hometown ever.
Right. Until.
I'm not sure I still do.
Yeah?
Really, but some people say that I'm from some part of Atoka, Oklahoma, or whatever. Well, my mom would always take me to the Cinemark every weekend. We'd watch movies in Denison,
Oh yeah.
and
Okay.
that was a big deal. And that's kind of how I got into the whole horror kind of thing. And that's probably why I ended up making this type of music. And
You think?
still, that's what I do. Tonight we'll go home and watch whatever new horror movie. But
There's a new version of Salem's Lot out.
oh, I saw that. Like it's a TV show, right?
Yeah.
What is that on Paramount?
Yeah, I think so.
I saw that. Yeah,
It's
that's
good.
it.
It's
That's-
good. I've seen it.
It's closer to the book than any they've ever done
Yeah.
because they staged it in the 70s
Yeah.
when it was written.
And you got to check out Nocturnal Cult.
Okay, is that a band? Yeah,
It is.
That's a band from around here. A
Yes,
couple
it
dudes,
is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I
They
know
were
about
on
them.
they were on the show
Been following them.
about a year ago, October.
Yeah, matter
So-
of fact, they recorded here, didn't they?
They did.
That's kind of why I was thinking when they reopened this. I was like,
Yep.
well, maybe they won't think that we're that big of weirdos,
Y'all are not that big of weirdos, I promise. I promise. Matthew Neal I love him. He's a great guy, but
Yeah.
he's
Oh, they look like they party like
scary
we do.
smart. He's scary smart and just, yeah.
He had there for a while though. He was running an open mic.
At Lacey's, of all places.
Okay.
The adult.
I think Oliver invited me to that. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
If I go
Super
to open
secret
mic, it's gonna be that one.
Unfortunately, they don't do that anymore. But if you want to talk to drummers, you need to either hit the one on at Coyote Club on Thursday nights between 8 and midnight. That's Jonathan Van Huss. Wednesday at Kickbacks from 6:30 to 10:30. That's Oliver White's. Those two you're more likely to find drummers at. There are other open mics if you want to come in and do like you did this evening.
Yeah.
Horses Axe down here on Main
That's
Street
cool.
on Monday night. Tim runs that one.
Really?
Yep. And he also works with Jonathan on the two that he runs. But there's one on Wednesday night, Coyote Bumper Club in Sherman. And then Oliver runs one tonight at the Old Iron Post. And then there's one down at the Green Growler tonight, too. So, yeah, they're all over the place. You can get live music 7 days a week in Denison. 7 days a week.
Yeah, that's wild.
Which is wild. There are places outside this area that you can't get that.
Yeah, I mean, tons of great musicians. We could sit
Tons
here,
of great musicians. We
so
could sit
many
here
of
and
them.
talk about them all night long.
Yeah, so many I've met around here that are.
But unfortunately, we have to end for the evening.
Yeah, it's been great to be here with you.
Okay, so
Say hi to Chris.
say hi to Chris at Mojo Roofing,
Yep.
right? I don't have their phone number.
And they're a local roofing company
Mm-hmm.
that are here on Main. I think they're about to move or they have moved.
Yeah.
And it's just one of the companies one of our local companies
Yeah.
we'd like to tag and say hi to, so people that haven't heard of them can go check them out. They're a great roofing
So-
company, and they're local. So if they mess
When you,
up,
yeah, when you think local music, the best thing to do is to go and support your local musicians by going to their gigs. order a beer or an adult beverage or a non-adult beverage, order some appetizers, throw something in the tip jar or whatever, right? Because that's the best way to support local musicians. You can also support your local podcast. There's 2 or 3 in the area. Matthew Neal runs one. It's called Live from County. There's mine. You can go to my website and donate there if you want to help support the podcast. Shelly Hitting the Streets podcast. She's out of Sherman. Does some really great stuff with musicians too. Support local, right? If you go to a local roofing company like Mojo Roofing, if you support your local musicians by hitting one of the venues here, that's the best way to support local music. That's the best way to support your community. Support Denison the best way you can by keeping it local. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all have a great night.
Salute.